Welcome to Seasonal Cooking with Just Roots. In this series, you'll discover recipes, tips, and tricks for using the produce and proteins in your CSA. We'll guide you through each recipe step by step, teaching you how to craft delicious meals with in-season vegetables in under 15 minutes. Develop your kitchen skills and explore new culinary adventures. Here's what you can expect in this episode. We only have a few short weeks of summer left and all those beloved late summer crops. Green beans, tomatoes, tomatillos, and peppers, they're on their way out. So let's maximize the fleeting season with 3 early September-inspired recipes. We're making crunchy, quick-pickled dilly beans, a simple sheet pan roasted tomato sauce, and a hearty traditional Guatemalan dish, Jocón, made from tomatillos and bell peppers. If you'd like to skip ahead to a recipe, check out the timestamps in the video description below. We'll start off with this easy sheet pan roasted tomato sauce. It's a foolproof folk method tomato sauce I've tested again and again, and it's an easy way to preserve pounds of tomatoes. You just need a few vegetables, a sheet pan, a food processor or blender, and some seasonings. I used between 3 and 5 pounds of paste tomatoes, such as San Marzano, Amish, or Roma. If you don't have paste tomatoes, no worries. I've done this recipe with beefsteak varieties too. The key to a rich and smooth sauce is remove excess moisture and seeds. Go ahead and preheat that oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and start slicing your tomatoes in half lengthwise. Next, we'll remove the seeds. We do this for 2 reasons. 1, it makes a smoother sauce, and 2, there's a ton of water surrounding them, and we won't be cooking off excess water in this recipe. Spread the tomatoes over a large baking sheet with the cut side up, and we're going to salt them. So the salt is going to help draw water out of these already really watery, fleshy fruits. This technique is also called sweating. You can leave them in a colander for 10 to 20 minutes right in your sink. We'll use 6 to 8 cloves of garlic, but leave the skins on. This is a good trick. If you want to caramelize sweet garlic, leave the skins on. Next up, prep 3 small onions, or 2 medium or 1 large. We're going to cut the ends off and remove the outer skins, but sort of leave them in chunks. Drop those 3 veggies on a sheet pan with some olive oil at the bottom, some spices like black pepper, roasted red pepper flakes, and oregano. Oh, and drain that excess tomato juice. You don't need it. And then spread all the veggies on the pan, adding some red pepper flakes to taste, oregano or Italian seasoning, and some olive oil on top. Can't really go wrong here with the folk method. Stick it in the oven for 45 minutes to an hour until you see slight browning on the tomatoes. Once they're ready, remove it, and we're going to put it into a blender or food processor. But make sure to remove the garlic from the skins. They should just squeeze out right into the blender, nice and easy. Now it's time to add your final seasonings to taste. So we're going to add some more salt and pepper. And you can enjoy this right away. It's a nice thick sauce. It doesn't need cooking down. Or if you'd like to freeze it, you can use mason jars. Just make sure to leave room at the top to allow for expansion. Enjoy! The next recipe is the crisp and quick dilly beans. So go ahead and weigh out 1 pound of string beans, or double this recipe if you'd like to make more. It makes about 2 pint-sized mason jars. We're going to start off making our brine. I use 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, followed by some chili. This is optional. Dried red pepper is great. You can also use fresh. I added 1 cup of white vinegar, and it's typically for me great to have equal parts vinegar in water. So I'm going to put both the vinegar and water, 1 cup of each, in a saucepan, and I'm going to smash some garlic. You can do 1 clove, you can do 3. I like to have 1 per jar or more. Bring that brine to a boil, and in the meantime you can cut the ends off your green beans. Once the brine has come to a boil, turn it off, remove it from the stove, and get your jars ready. I like to add fresh or dried dill, some lightly shaved raw onion, and some jalapeno or fresh pepper. You can experiment with what you like, maybe different spices. I use 2 clean pint-sized mason jars, and you might have to cut the beans in order to make them fit. Here's a trick. Tilting the jar sideways helps you fit more beans. So I'm adding some thinly sliced red onion. I added jalapenos, a trick, remove the seeds if you don't want them so hot. And then I'm just plucking off some dill. You can use the stems too. So you're going to pour the brine over the top of the dilly beans. And of course, don't forget your garlic cloves. Stick those in there. Use parchment paper if you don't want it to rust. Oh, and here's a quick tip for keeping dill fresh. Enjoy! So Jocón is a Mayan dish, and it's a chicken and tomatillo stew. It uses all of these lovely vegetables found in our CSAs, and it just makes this meaty, rich, wonderful soup. Start off with the seeds. So we're going to use 1 cup of pumpkin or sunflower and a 1/4 cup of sesame, and we're going to toast those without oil until they start to brown. Set your oven to broil while that's happening so it can start heating up. And you'll smell the seeds. They're really fragrant, and stirring them constantly helps them from burning. You're going to dry process those seeds in a blender or food processor and just set them to the side. We don't need them for a while. Oh, how pretty that is. Next, you're going to peel and rinse your tomatillos. So there's an outer husk that you're going to want to take off, and if they're dirty, give them a good rinse. Just takes a minute. Place them on a large baking sheet, and we'll cut up 4 small bell peppers, or you could do 2 bell peppers that are large. Just cut them right in half, and then remove the stems and as many of the seeds as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect here. Add those peppers to the sheet pan as well, and go ahead and chop in half 1 jalapeno, the stem, and remove the seeds. Next, I used 3 to 4 small onions. You could use 1 really large one. You're going to cut those in half, peel off the outer skins, remove the ends, just like before. Those are going on the roasting pan too, and if you can, arrange it so the peppers are cut side down. I drizzle with a little bit of olive oil on top, and we're going to stick them in the broiler for 6 to 8 minutes. I think mine took more like 8 minutes. You'll start to see some blistering on the skins. That's a good sign. Get out a large stock or soup pot. That's what we're going to be using to make our stew, and we're going to add 6 cups of chicken stock or vegetable stock along with 2 pounds of boneless chicken thighs. These are skinless. It was great. Put those in with the broth. And once your blistered veggies are done, those are also going to go into the stock pot. Look how beautiful that char is. Next, we're going to bring the stock, the vegetables, and the chicken to a boil. Oh, how beautiful the colors are. That's late summer colors. Once it's at a boil, we're going to lower the heat to a simmer, and we're going to set a timer for 35 minutes. While that's happening, smash 3 cloves of garlic, more if you'd like, and you're going to remove those skins and mince it as finely as you can. We're going to be heating that garlic up in a pan with some olive oil till it's a toasted brown. Make sure to stir it because it will burn, and burnt garlic doesn't taste very good. Once it's looking like this, remove it from the heat and set it aside. Now on to scallions. Remove those outer wilty leaves, and you can just chop these because they're going in a blender anyways. Same thing with the cilantro. You can use the stems, don't worry. And you're going to use a bunch of cilantro, set that aside in a bowl, start rinsing your potatoes. So I used 6 to 8 small ones, but you could use 3 large potatoes, and we're going to slice them into small cubes. We want them to cook fast, so we want a lot of surface area. And the same thing goes for our carrots here. We're going to remove the end, and then we're going to slice them into small chunks so that we can cut them into small cubes. I love how vegetable forward this soup is. It uses so many amazing late summer crops. All right, so that's looking great. Now it's been 35 minutes. I'm going to pull the chicken out of the soup and set it aside. The soup, not the chicken, is going to go in the food processor where you can add your scallions and cilantro and blend it for a minute or 2 until it's smooth. Go ahead and pour the soup back into the stock pot. And add your potatoes, your carrots, your garlic, and your toasted seeds. Give it a nice stir and admire the beautiful texture and color. Oh, and the smell too. Now we're going to add some seasoning. So I did 1 teaspoon, that felt like enough for me, and some ground pepper. Use your taste buds. And you can shred your chicken with your hands or a fork, and that will be added right back into the soup. Now it's about another 15 minutes or until the potatoes and carrots are soft before it's ready to serve. You can eat the soup as is or serve it over rice or hominy. And an important thing here is garnish. You can have pickled onion, raw onion, avocado, cilantro. I definitely throw some lime juice in it. It was a delicious meal. It served 6 of my friends with some leftovers. I highly recommend trying it out. Here's some glam shots. If you make this recipe at home, send us some pictures. We'd love to see your creations. And there you have it, guys. 3 late summer vegetable dishes in under 15 minutes. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Our email is info@justroots.org. We'd be happy to answer any cooking questions. Take care.